Is your child's potty mouth leaving you speechless? Don't worry. Today, we're going to dive into root causes and what to do about it. Hi, I'm Dr. Roseann, and we are into our Behavior Decoded series. And today we're talking about the unexpected reason or reasons behind your child's swearing. As somebody who has a potty mouth, and literally when I go to hire people, I ask them if they're offended by potty words, because it is legal in my state to use potty words at work as long as it's not at somebody. I got a potty mouth. And so when I have one kid who is like his papa, who doesn't swear, and then another kid who swears like his mama, I got nobody else to blame but myself on that one. But it's not as simple as that. Yeah. Why does my kid swear is one of the most common questions I get. And that's why I'm leading it in our Behavior Decoded series. We're leading it into it because of that. But, having mom, dad, other people in the family swear, yeah, role modeling is a part of that. But some kids swear, they swear at home, they maybe even swear at school or the bus, the dreaded bus. We don't talk about the bus. Let's really dive into that, right? So, number one, role modeling by others, right? It's real, right? So, if that is a contributor, like in my case, I learned to if you're watching The Simpsons, um, Flanders, Ned Flanders, right? Isn't his name Ned Flanders? He does things like diddly diddly do and bologna and cheese. So I try to do alternatives. I'm not saying I'm very successful at it, but I do try, and I certainly know how to not swear when I'm working with kids and families. Um, Even though I got some great stories from some of the parents that I work with. I recently had one come in and go, "Do I have your permission to cuss in this session?" I was like, "Do you have permission? There's no kids around. Let's do it." It's pretty funny. So for some people, it's very offensive. And I know that and I can see it. This has to be one of those things that is this really something in your family? Is this the hill you want to die on? Right. I do want to say that swearing is correlated with higher intelligence. I mean, these are things I have to tell myself as a potty mouth girl. So, one of the most common reasons why kids swear is emotional overwhelm and frustration, right? So, forget about if parents are role modeling it. I know that I do it as when I'm irritated. I also do it because it just releases for me, right? So if you have a child that's overwhelmed a lot, right, what does this mean? It means that they're lacking coping skills, right? So we have to go back to those coping skills. Coping skills, you're going to hear me always talking about coping skills, coping skills, coping skills, because we know through clinical research that coping skills are tied to lifelong positive mental health. And the lack of them means that you are easily frustrated, right? So swearing can be one of the things you can see. We can talk about anger, aggression, shutdown. You can call the nervous system can just constantly go into a fight, flight, or freeze because you don't have a healthy way to get control of whatever situation is going on. It's about that lacking of solving skills as well. So, how do we build healthy coping skills? Please go back and listen to those episodes. If you're looking for more support on how to do coping skills, it's in my Calm Brain Community or Self Regulation Mastery Blueprint. You go to drroseann.com, self reg mastery, all one word. But you want to actually, there's multiple ways to really teach healthy coping skills. One, you're going to role model it the best you can. Remember, 80% awesome is all that we're requiring. There's no perfect parents. I don't know who they are. And that's just, don't even try to set yourself up for that because you're going to shut down. So we want to support them, right? So let's say your kid swears more when, I don't know, you ask them to quickly do a task or jump into the car because you're late, right? So, what we want to do is prep them for that, right? We want to role play, we want to gesture, we want to problem solve. We want them ideally to start getting words around what's irritating about it for them, right? So, a lot of times it could be transitioning from a task. And we want them to develop those coping skills, whether that's, using appropriate verbal language, like, oh, instead of swearing, what else could I say? Right? You literally want to practice, reinforce, and guess what? Practice and reinforce them more and more and more. Otherwise, the swearing is going to be an issue, right? Now, obviously, if you have a teenager and they're swearing, right, some of that is developmentally normal. They might be boundary testing for you, right? Like I always think, use the think about dinosaurs, the raptors trying to get out of the cage. They're testing to see what they can get away with. So make it clear that's not acceptable. Make it clear what the consequences are. And again, with teenagers, right, they'll throw right back in your face if you're doing it. So you want to make sure you're role modeling it. And if you do slip up, be like, oh, I should have done this instead. Just say it out loud. I mean, we want our kids to develop those emotional skills. We have to apologize. We have to show we're human beings and make mistakes. And then we have to show them what the alternative is. I would be very careful if your kid's a teenager or you're a younger child is really explosive and swearing a lot. That's obviously a sign of a bigger issue. If it's constantly happening, please seek psychological care. At a minimum, get parenting support for yourself. I recently was working with somebody and I was like, your house is like a poop show. And she was like, it's full on chaos at my house. And I was like, therapy's been completely ineffective for your daughters. And she was like, absolutely. And I was like, waste of our time at this point. I was like, you need serious parenting coaching a couple times a week. She was like, absolutely. Let's get serious about it. So we're working with them. And I was like, you folks are very intense. I think it's rubbing off on your kids. And let's really get to the bottom of this and get you guys regulated. And they're like, we don't even know how to regulate because we're just in such a chaotic place. And, these are accomplished, loving parents, great kids. And sometimes people all get stuck. And it starts with, right, like we've got to calm that nervous system down. We need coping skills. If you don't have coping skills, you're literally going to be like groundhog daying it every day, every day, every day. And it was so great because this mom said to me, like, every day I wake up and I'm like, not going to be triggered by my kids swearing and irritation, but every day it's the same thing over and over. And I was like, you guys are both stuck. Like, we've got to find a different way. And she was like, I don't even know where to start. So starting one place, reinforcing, demonstrating those coping skills, but it's not going to happen unless you, mom and dad, are regulating yourself, which is not easy. And your kid is finding healthy ways to regulate themselves and an alternative to swearing. So don't look for a magic bullet. You know that you've got to reinforce behaviors a minimum of 30 days. A minimum, and don't let your foot off the gas because things get better. Keep going. If you really want to extinguish things, right? This is Dr. Rowe. I'm a psychologist. I'm not some health coach. You need concrete behavioral tools, and this is how you change behavior. It's not from that pill. So if you're looking for more ways to support your kids, this is exactly why I created the Self-Regulation Mastery Blueprint with our Calm Brain community. You can go to Self-Reg Mastery, drroseann.com, Self-Reg Mastery. It has the best of the best tools that have already been tested by me and through science. And in my case, with thousands of other families, and it's easy to use, accessible. This isn't some course that you just get. This is something that you can just use AI, find what you need. You can also watch everything. But remember, 30 days, keep going, and maybe we all can swear a little less.